Welcome to Protect, Suicide Prevention Training Podcast for Healthcare Professionals. I'm Manaan, consultant psychiatrist, founder, and head of faculty at Progress Guide.
Hi everyone, it's Mahi, your Protect podcast host. Today is episode 58, and we're diving into the third story from The Path to Belonging, a story about connection called Connecting the Dots. Manaan, welcome back.
Thanks, Mahi. I think by the time we are done with recording all of these values, our listeners would be absolute experts in acceptance and commitment therapy because it's all values-based work that they do in that therapeutic modality. And it's such a pleasure to be here and share these stories with our listeners and get people engaged in the conversation. So far we have done acceptance, which was previous episode with Cody, the koala. And then the first one was with belonging, with Penny the penguin. And it's great to hear the comments from our fan base and the listeners. So it's really good to get that interaction going, people actually talking about values.
So before we reveal the story, let's remind our listeners about the little guessing game we played last time.
Yeah.
So we asked which animal character might join Sunny the golden retriever and Penny the penguin on their next adventure, focusing on the value of connection.
Yes, and we have had some great guesses actually. So, and each one of them is a unique perspective on why their chosen character would be a great fit for teaching connection.
That's right. I've got a few of those guesses here. Let's give a shout out to our listeners. Madison from Perth thought that a dolphin would be perfect because dolphins are known for their social bonds and ability to communicate over long distances. She said they'd show a connection transcends distance.
That's a brilliant suggestion, actually. You know, dolphins have an incredible way of staying connected, even when miles apart, you know, through their echolocation. It reminds us that true connection isn't always about physical proximity. So, yeah, well, great suggestion, Madison. But no, it's not a dolphin.
And then there was David from London who guessed a spider. He thought a spider could weave a story around a web, showing how connections tie us all together, like the threads of a spider's web.
Another fantastic idea. You know what? We should do this every episode because this is giving us more ideas to write more stories. Yeah, and the web, you know, that web metaphor is so powerful as it shows how every thread supports the whole structure. If one thread breaks, it affects the entire web. It's a great way to visualize how our actions impact others.
And finally, we had Priya from Mumbai.
It's great to have someone from India joining the guessing game.
Yeah. And she guessed that a hummingbird might be the character. She felt that the hummingbird's movement between flowers could represent how we connect different parts of our lives and relationships.
People are really getting into this guessing. You know, I think these are the top three. We had a few more. So, hey, if we haven't read out your idea, please don't be, you know, we will, I'm sure you will kind of strike it lucky at some point. Like Priya's idea captures the essence of connection, right? Through movement and flow, just like how we connect with different people in our lives, you know, bringing energy and positivity wherever we go. So yes, Madison, David and Priya, no, you haven't got it right, but great suggestions.
And as some of our listeners might know, the character we chose for the story, should we give a drum roll?
Yeah, like I think, yes, we should.
Okay.
I don't know how we do it. But I think those of you who have already got the books, you know, they might know. We need to somehow safeguard and put in a caveat that if you've got the book, you cannot join the guessing game. Yeah.
So the character we chose for the story is Oliver the Octopus.
Yay!
And Oliver has some beautiful lessons about connection to share with Sunny and Penny. But before we dive into those lessons, Manaan, could you share why connection is so crucial for positive mental health?
Absolutely, Mahi. Connection is at the heart of our well-being. Studies have shown that strong social connections can increase longevity by 50%. And lower rates of anxiety and depression. Conversely, loneliness, and I think I've said that before in the podcast that we did on belonging.
Mm-hmm.
Loneliness is a significant risk factor for poor mental health and even physical illness. In fact, some studies have compared the effects of chronic loneliness to smoking 15 cigarettes a day. It's that serious. I'm pretty certain I mentioned that in the episode on belonging.
And that's a powerful statistic. So when we talk about connection, we're not just talking about being around people, but truly feeling seen and understood by them.
Exactly. And that brings us to a distinction with exploring connection and belonging. You can ask, why are they two distinct values? They are similar, but not identical. Connection is the act of forming ties with others, while belonging is the feeling of being accepted and valued within those connections, right? So it's a fine difference. So connection is the act of forming ties with others, while belonging is the feeling of being accepted and valued within those connections. So you can think of connection as the thread and belonging as the fabric that the thread weaves together.
That's such a beautiful way to put it. And I think it ties in well with today's story. So without further ado, let's jump into connecting the dots and hear from Oliver the Octopus.
The stage is all yours.
Connecting the dots. Morning reflections on acceptance. As the first rays of sunlight filtered through the trees, the peaceful stillness of Terra Vale welcomed another day. Sunny woke up to the sound of gentle birdsong and the rustling leaves due to some busy bunnies building a new burrow. His golden fur glistened as he stretched, while Penny the penguin waddled nearby, her eyes twinkling with excitement. "Good morning, Sunny," Penny chirped. "Did you sleep well?" Sunny yawned, wagging his tail. "I sure did. What adventure are we going on today?" Penny flapped her little wings thoughtfully. "Today, we'll learn about connection. But first, let's say goodbye to Cody and remember yesterday's lesson about acceptance." Sunny nodded, remembering Cody's wise words. As they made their way back to the crystal lagoon where Cody the koala sat in the branches, Sunny nodded, remembering Cody's wise words. As they made their way back to the crystal lagoon where Cody the koala sat in the branches of a eucalyptus tree, they talked about how acceptance can be lived out every day. "Remember when I was scared to cross the log, but Cody and you told me it was okay to feel afraid?" Sunny recalled, his tail wagging as he spoke. "I accepted that it was okay to take a different path, and that felt like such a relief." Penny smiled. "Exactly. Acceptance helps us understand ourselves and others better. Like these rabbits, they accepted that their burrow got flooded, but instead of panicking, they are building another one. Sometimes accepting what we can't control creates freedom to take action and move forward." Sunny and Penny soon reached Cody, who smiled down at them from his favorite branch. "Good morning, friends," Cody said warmly. "I see you're off to your next adventure." "We are," Sunny replied. "Thank you for teaching us about acceptance yesterday." Cody nodded. "It was my pleasure. Remember, acceptance brings peace. Carry that with you wherever you go." With a final wave, Sunny and Penny set off toward the other end of the lagoon, ready for their next adventure. The journey to the river, meeting Oliver the Octopus. Sunny and Penny continued walking along the edge of the crystal lagoon, the soft water shimmering beneath the bright morning sun. Penny pointed to where the lagoon's waters flowed into a river, which snaked its way toward the distant ocean. "We're heading toward the river, where the lagoon meets the sea," Penny explained. "That's where we'll meet Oliver the Octopus. He's very wise and knows all about connection, how everything in Terra Vale is linked together." Sunny's ears perked up. "I can't wait to meet him. What does connection mean?" "Connection is like the invisible thread that links everything together," Penny said. "Just like how you and Tommy and Lily are always connected, even when you're apart. Oliver will help us understand how that works in nature." As they approached the river bank, the water was clearer and deeper. Penny pointed to a rocky outcrop where the water was calm. "Oliver usually stays around here. He loves this part of the lagoon because it's where everything connects: the river, the lagoon, and the ocean." Just then, a graceful figure began to emerge from beneath the surface. Oliver the Octopus glided smoothly through the water, his tentacles swirling gently as he approached the shore. His eyes twinkled with kindness and wisdom. "Ah, visitors," Oliver said, his voice warm and welcoming. "I'm Oliver, and I see you've come to learn about connection." The web of life. Sunny and Penny sat by the water's edge, watching as Oliver's tentacles stirred the calm depths of the river. "You see," Oliver began, "just like my arms are connected to the center of my body, everything in nature is connected too. The trees, the water, the animals, and even you, Sunny, are all part of something bigger." Sunny tilted his head. "But how are we connected to each other?" Oliver smiled. "In many ways. Look at the water here. It nourishes the trees and plants around it, which, in turn, provide food and shelter for animals. The fish in the river rely on the plants and the flow of water to survive. Each part of nature plays a role, and together we keep the balance." Penny added, "It's like how we all have different roles in Terra Vale, but we share what we've learned. That's what keeps everything connected." Sunny thought for a moment. "So, connection is about how we all help each other, even if we don't always realize it." "Exactly," Oliver said. "And that's why it's so important to recognize those connections. We're all part of the web of life, and each action affects another." An underwater adventure. "Would you like to explore the river with me?" Oliver asked, his tentacles playfully stirring the water. "I can show you how life thrives below the surface, where every creature and plant plays its part in the web of life." Sunny's tail wagged in excitement. "I'd love to." Oliver guided Sunny and Penny onto a small boat that drifted nearby. As they glided across the river, the water sparkled in the sunlight, and they could see the life below, a bustling world of fish darting between plants, their movements synchronized like a perfectly timed dance. "Look around," Oliver said. The fish rely on the plants for food and shelter. The plants need sunlight and water to grow. Everything is connected, just like the way your family looks after each other. It's a cycle, each part supporting the other. Sunny watched in wonder as the fish swam in harmony, their sleek bodies moving effortlessly through the water. It's like they're all working together, he said. They are, Oliver replied. Connection is about supporting one another, whether it's in your family or in the natural world. That's how we all thrive. The power of connection. As the boat drifted back to the shore, Oliver shared one final thought. Remember, Sonny, connection isn't always about being together physically. Sometimes it's about knowing that even when you're apart, you're still part of something bigger. Your actions affect others, and theirs affect you. That's why it's so important to be mindful of the connections we have with the world and with each other. Sonny smiled as he thought of Tommy and Lily. So, even when I'm here in Terra Vale, I'm still connected to them. Exactly, Oliver said, his eyes twinkling. Your love and loyalty are part of that invisible thread that connects you, no matter where you are. Sonny's heart swelled with understanding. He had learned that connection wasn't just about being close. It was about recognizing the invisible links that tied everyone and everything together, creating a web of life. A mini adventure, living the value of connection. As the sun dipped lower in the sky, casting long shadows over the river, Sunny and Penny thanked Oliver for his wisdom and set off on their next journey. As they walked along the riverbank, they noticed a family of beavers working together to build a dam. Look at that, Penny said, smiling. They're working together, each playing their part, just like how we're all connected. Sunny watched in awe as the beavers carefully placed branches and stones, each one contributing to the dam's construction. It's amazing how they all help each other, just like you said, Oliver. That's connection. Everyone doing their part to support the whole. With that, Sunny and Penny continued on their way, the river glistening beside them, knowing they were connected to everything in Terra Vale and beyond.
Oh, Mahi, hearing you read this just gives me goosebumps.
It is a really lovely story, Manan. And I think Oliver's lesson about how everything in nature is connected was truly profound. And I loved how he used the imagery of the web of life to show Sunny and Penny the value of connection.
Yes, Oliver's wisdom helps us understand that every action has a ripple effect. So just as in Terra Vale, not just there, but in our world too, our actions, words, and even our presence can create connections that influence those around us.
And that brings us to an important conversation. How can the value of connection help in suicide prevention?
So connection plays a pivotal role here. One of the strongest protective factors against suicidal thoughts is feeling connected to others. If you go through the ideation to action framework that we cover in the Protect training, you will find that we talk about interpersonal theory, Joyner's interpersonal theory. And that's all about connections, feeling valued, not feeling like a burden, feeling connected to those around you. It's one of those key factors which can shift a person from ideation to action. So when people feel isolated or like they don't matter, the risk of despair increases. But when they feel seen, heard, and valued, that sense of connection can be a lifeline. Simple acts like checking in on someone, being present, or offering a listening ear can make all the difference.
It's so true. And that's why living the value of connection daily is vital. What are some practical ways people can do this?
It can be as simple as reaching out to someone you haven't spoken to in a while, right? Offering a genuine compliment or joining a community group. It's about creating moments when you connect deeply, even if it's just for a few minutes. Volunteering is another great way to feel more connected to the community and help others feel the same.
I love that. Now, let's shift gears a bit and dive into some discussion prompts for our younger listeners. These aren't just simple questions, they're opportunities for parents, grandparents, older siblings, nannies, and teachers to open up a deeper conversation about connection. Manan, I'll share a question and maybe you can guide us on how to use it to steer the conversation in a meaningful direction. Ready?
Absolutely. So let's help our listeners make these conversations rich and engaging.
All right, here's the first one. What does Oliver the Octopus mean when he says everything in life is connected, like his tentacles? How might a parent or a teacher use this question, Manan?
This is a great starting point. Parents and teachers can use this question to introduce the idea of interdependence, right? So you've got dependence, independence, and interdependence. They can guide children to think about how Oliver's tentacles, though separate, all work together. Just like the different parts of our lives and relationships, it's a chance to explore how we have connected to nature, to people in our community, and even to faraway friends. From here, you can ask kids to think about small connections in their daily life, like how a smile or a kind word can brighten someone's day.
That's beautiful. Here's another one. Can you think of ways that you're connected to the people in your life, even when you aren't with them? What direction could parents take this?
This question helps children realize that connection isn't just about physical presence, it's an invitation to talk about emotional bonds. Parents could prompt their kids to think about how they stay connected through shared moments, letters, or, well, not letters anymore, maybe emails or texts or WhatsApp, or even thoughts and feelings. It's also a good moment to talk about how they might feel close to, say, grandparents who live far away, like, your grandparents, they are in India and you are here in Australia. Or to a friend they only see at school or once they leave school, but they still stay connected with their friends from school. This can help kids appreciate that love and care are like invisible threads connecting us even when we are apart.
Oh, that's such a lovely way to put it. Next, we have, why do you think the fish and plants in the lagoon are good examples of how everything is connected? How can this question help deepen understanding?
Well, with this question, adults can guide kids to see the natural world's interconnectedness. It's a perfect way to explore the idea that every creature has a role. For example, parents might explain how fish rely on plants for shelter and food, underwater plants, and how plants in turn need clean water. This can be expanded into a broader discussion about how we all rely on each other in different ways, like how we depend on farmers for food or teachers for knowledge. It's about helping kids see that each role, no matter how small, is vital.
Great points. How about this one? How does the web of life that Oliver talks about help everyone in Terra Vale live together peacefully?
This question can guide children to think about harmony and cooperation. Adults can ask kids to think about examples of cooperation that they see at home or school, like, taking turns or working as a team during sports. It's a chance to discuss how, just like in Terra Vale, when everybody understands their role and supports each other, things run smoothly. It's also a good moment to introduce the idea that peace isn't just about being quiet, but about creating a space where everyone feels valued and connected.
And I love how that ties back to the story's themes. Now, here's one for deeper reflection. What did Sunny learn about how his actions affect others, just like the animals in the lagoon?
Yeah, this one is especially powerful. Parents and caregivers can use it to show kids that even small actions can ripple out and impact others. It's an opportunity to talk about kindness, responsibility, empathy. For example, you could ask children to think about how a small act like sharing a toy or helping a friend makes a big difference. It's about teaching them that their choices matter, just like Sunny's realization that he's part of a bigger picture in Terra Vale.
That's really profound, Manan. How do you think the underwater world in Terra Vale looks? What creatures would you imagine live deep in the lagoon? How could this question help in the conversation?
Well, this is a chance to unleash their imagination. It's a great way for parents or teachers to let kids express their creativity while connecting it back to the theme. They might imagine all sorts of creatures, each playing a role in the lagoon's ecosystem. Adults can use this to emphasize that, every being, no matter how small or unusual, has a place in the world. It can lead to a discussion about celebrating differences and valuing diversity in nature and in our communities. And people can, these kids can draw and parents can join them with their pastels and everything. So it could be a great fun activity.
And I think the kids will really enjoy that. Here's another. Have you ever done something nice for someone and felt connected to them? Why do small actions make a big difference in connection?
This question is perfect for fostering empathy. Parents and teachers can encourage children to share examples from their lives, like making a card for a friend or helping a neighbor with groceries. It's about showing them that kindness is a powerful way to build connection. They can also talk about how it feels to receive kindness, right? In the episodes with Stan Steinle, we talked about the different flows of compassion, flow from myself to another person, and then kind of the flow from another person back to me and the flow within myself of self-compassion. So it's a great way to open up that conversation around kindness and compassion and how that could be a way to build connections. This might help kids understand the two-way nature of connection.
How about this one? Why do you think connection is important in families and friendships? Can you think of a time where you felt connected to your family or friends?
This is a great way to bring the conversation closer to home. Adults can use this prompt to explore the importance of relationships and support systems. It's a chance to talk about times when a hug or a shared laugh made everything feel better. It's about helping kids understand that connection gives us strength during tough times and makes good times even more special.
Here's another question to spark their curiosity. If you were exploring Terra Vale with Oliver, what other connected creatures might you discover underwater?
Yeah, this one's all about imagination and exploration. It's like the one that I set up. Children should draw that out. And it invites kids to see the world through a curious lens, imagining the interconnectedness of creatures they might not know about yet. If you've seen Finding Nemo or something like that, you can integrate that so well into this. It reminds me, we should keep reminding our listeners, if you work in Disney or Pixar, yeah, we're still waiting for your phone call, saying that we haven't given them our phone numbers.
Yeah.
Parents could guide them to think about how each of those imagined creatures might rely on or help others in the ecosystem. It's a way to make the invisible connections in nature come to life and tie back to real-life ecosystems they might encounter.
And the final one. Why do you think Penny and Sunny felt more connected to each other after their adventure with Oliver?
This question helps kids think about how shared experiences strengthen bonds. Like a sleepover, say, for example. Parents can guide the conversation towards the importance of spending quality time with friends and family, how those shared moments create lasting memories and deeper connections. It's a chance to talk about how, just like Sunny and Penny, we grow closer when we face new experiences together, and how those moments help us understand each other's better. And that's happening all the way through school, universities, your ATARs and OPs that people took, exams, all those processes, making applications. It creates shared experiences and it builds connection.
And these questions and the ways they can be used really add depth to the story's lessons. It's not just about understanding connection, but truly feeling it in every interaction, big or small.
Absolutely, Mahi. When we open up these conversations, we help kids see that connection is about more than just knowing someone. It's about being part of a bigger story that links us all. And if you're a therapist, a psychiatrist, a counselor, psychologist, this knowledge, if you can bring this into your sessions, it's a great way to help people see that there are connections. They have got reasons for living. And often people lose sight of those connections when they descend into despair. So it's a really important value to kind of talk about, to discuss in your therapy sessions.
We hope these prompts inspire some meaningful conversations at home.
Yes, and that reminds me of a concept from mindfulness called interbeing. Okay, a term introduced by Thich Nhat Hanh. I don't know whether I'm saying it correctly. He's a Vietnamese monk and a prolific writer. I've been very influenced by his work. It's not a word that you will find in a dictionary, this word interbeing, but it's central to understanding how deeply everything in the world is connected. Interbeing speaks to the idea that nothing exists in isolation. Everything is part of a greater cycle. I don't know whether we have covered it in an earlier episode or not, but Thich Nhat Hanh describes it beautifully with the story of a poet seeing clouds in a sheet of paper. It sounds poetic, but it's rooted in reality. Without clouds, there is no rain. Without rain, trees can't grow. And without trees, there would be no paper. What seems unrelated, clouds, rains, trees, paper, are actually intricately linked. It's a reminder that even the smallest things depend on each other.
And that's such a perfect way to think about connection, Manaan. It's like how Oliver the Octopus explained the web of life to Sunny and Penny in the story. He showed them how each creature in the river and lagoon, from the smallest fish to the tallest reed, depend on each other to thrive. Even the currents that flow through the river bring nutrients to the plants, which in turn provide food and shelter for the fish. It's all connected, just like we are.
Exactly, Mahi. Like, Oliver's lesson is the essence of interbeing. Just like how each drop of water contributes to the flow of the river, each small act of kindness and connection we offer in our daily lives can ripple outwards. And this is especially important when we think about suicide prevention. A simple act like reaching out to a friend who is struggling, offering a kind word, or even just being there to listen can have a profound impact. You might never know how much it means to that person in that moment, but sometimes that one connection can be a lifeline.
It's true, and we hear so many stories about how a small gesture made all the difference for someone who was feeling isolated and alone. It reminds us that every single connection, every act of kindness matters more than we might realize.
Absolutely. Just as Oliver explained to Sunny and Penny, even the tiniest creatures play their role in maintaining the balance of life in the river. In the same way, our seemingly small actions can help keep the balance in the lives of those around us. It might seem just like a phone call or a smile, but it could be the thing that helps someone feel seen and valued. Remember, Saubono, right? That Zulu word around which that entire concept of relational safety is based in protect. I see you. I don't just see you. I see you and your ancestors, your hopes, your dreams, your aspirations, all of it. Me and my ancestors see all of that. And in the process of seeing you, I bring you into being. So it's a powerful reminder that we are never truly alone, particularly if we reach out. We can help each other find hope, even in the darkest times.
Well said, Manaan. It's a beautiful message that I hope our listeners carry with them this week. Speaking of which, we've got a fun little guessing game before we wrap up today's episode. Our next value in Sunny's Value Scouts is family.
Oh, I see where this is going.
The story is called Family Ties, and we'll be introducing a new character to join Sunny on his journey.
That's right. And we would love to hear your guesses, just like we heard from Madison, Priya, and David, right? David from London. So, which animal might be... And when we say animal, we also include, as you can see, birds, fishes. We had an octopus this time. So, what might be the best fit to teach Sunny and the gang, well, actually Sunny and Penny, about the value of family? Is it a caring elephant, a loyal wolf, or maybe a protective mother bear? I don't know what it is. Well, I do know what it is. But, drop us your guesses in the comments on Spotify, Apple Podcast, or Buzzsprout. And if you're feeling adventurous, you can also send us a note through the fan mail link in the podcast or email us at admin@progress.guide. And if someone gets it right, I think we should send them a copy of the book. Well, you should send in your address as well so that we can send you a copy. Actually to your email, we can send you the PDF of that book so they can...
yeah, that would be a good idea.
Yeah, so they can have a read of that. And if you've already got a copy of the book, The Path to Belonging, then you can't participate. That excludes you, right? So,
And just like today, we'll read out some of the best guesses on our next episode. So as Manaan said, get creative. And hey, if you guess right, maybe you'll earn yourself some serious bragging rights among your friends, or at least in our podcast community.
And don't be afraid to get a little wild with your guesses. After all, we have already kind of seen Sunny team up with a penguin and an octopus and a koala. Who knows what's coming next in Terra Vale?
And you never know, maybe someone will suggest a family of meerkats with impeccable dinner manners, or a kangaroo who's all about keeping the family pouch organized.
Yeah, like a kangaroo. I like that. An Australian connection, an Aussie connection. Yay. So whatever it is, we can't wait to hear your thoughts. And remember, as we journey through these values, belonging, acceptance, connection, let's all stay hopeful and connected for a brighter future. Even when things seem tough, it's those small, everyday connections that keep us grounded.
Absolutely. Thank you, Manaan, for another inspiring conversation, and to all our listeners, thank you for tuning in. Keep those connections close and carry the lessons of interbeing with you. Until next time, stay connected, keep spreading kindness, and as always, keep those values close to your heart.
Take care, everyone, and don't forget to guess the next character.
See you next week.
Bye-bye.